Let me show you around the course a little bit. First of all, this is like the starting page. I'm in student view right now just to give you a sense of kind of the design. This, of course, would say your course title or whatever, but basically the main front page just explains my layout, what a module is, mini lessons, support, so on. You'll want to read these things in terms of looking at what they are. I'll explain them as we go along. And then I have a little explanation as to how I'm handling some of the distance education model. But let me tell you what's going on in the course here, first of all. So you'll notice I restrict where they can go, basically just to the modules, and then that way I control what they can see and what they can do. When this first opens up, I think these will all be open. So let me just quickly close them, and then I'll explain the progression in the modules a little bit with you. So what a module is for me, it's not a unit of time necessarily, or a unit. Actually, each module is just basically a progression of concepts. And so you've used the materials of mine for the last few years. These are basically the same progression. They don't have the worksheet numbers on them anymore, but you should recognize the constructions, input, output, isometry, symmetry, the flag project, the properties, the isometric transformations, the mini golf. So I'm not showing everything right now. We can see that in a minute, but I'm just trying to show you that, first of all, these are the materials, but in this format. Let me show you the way each module is laid out. It's very important to understand it. What I've done is I've created a mini lesson and tried to keep it between, under 12 minutes is the goal. And basically what I'm doing here, these are new videos, by the way. The ones off the worksheets that you'd be familiar with, these would be those. So if you looked at these would be the old videos. I've added an additional video called a mini lesson video. And this one's different. These ones, like this one is me standing in front of a whiteboard. This one is what we call a whiteboarding app. And so what I'm doing in this may end up feeling a little bit like algebra class and not geometry to begin. What I'm doing here is I'm going to demonstrate that through a whiteboarding app, which in other words just records my voice, and the work and all of those things are created and recorded there. In theory, what that is it's me teaching the lesson in a tight and concise way, so that students could watch that as their first connection with the material. What this is it's the actual mini lesson itself, and so if they wanted to, they could print off the actual sheet, and I'll provide these for you. You can use them in a classroom if you are like in a classroom environment as well. And these are very similar to what you know to be the guided notes, and so that's what those are, but they're tightened up a little bit and reduced in their size. Then what I've done here is this is all the old materials. These are the student notes. These are the old videos. What this is just a discussion thread, so that if they got stuck on a problem, they could come in here and they could click on post and say, can you help me with problem number whatever, and show it. The real power of what I've done, though, is I have taken all of the worksheets and turned every question of those into a pre-assessment bank question. Let me explain what pre-assessment is. It's purely formative in its design, and it's where the students gain the practice and knowledge of the concept. So they've watched the video, and now they go take a pre-assessment that will ask them 10 questions about that. And what's being pulled here are going to be questions that are basically right off those worksheets. And students can take this little quiz, and they can work on those questions. And then they say, okay, I'm all done the pre-assessment. And what's great is immediately it will grade it, and it will tell them how they did. And you're like, well, wait, then they have the answers. Well, the cool thing, of course, is they're designed on banks of questions. So if I was to take the quiz again, it would now ask a different group of questions, and students could continue to get practice and try problems of a variety of difficulty and styles and so on. So the way it's designed, just so you know, is that the pre-assessment is purely formative information. It's practice for the students. Now, once they succeed in that or do well enough, I have what's called a mastery path set up, so that I can't remember what I have it set at, but like 50% or something. Not until they get a good enough score does the post-assessment unlock. So if we had got a good enough score on that one, the post-assessment would pop up, and then that one is actually where they take it, and it's for a grade. And what I do with the post-assessment, I'll show you one in a minute from the teacher side of things, but the post-assessment they can take twice is how I have it set up, and the higher grade is given. Think of post-assessment as homework. Think of pre-assessment as the worksheet practice. And then you can see the layout as every module is the same. It's got the mini lessons, the notes, the discussion, and the pre and the post. And on and on and on it goes. Let me show you the teacher side of things now. We'll leave the student view for a minute. Now, if you've already used Canvas, which each of you have said you have, and if you've already used my material, which you've said you have, then this will make great sense to you. Now, I'm going to wheel down here. I know that lots is happening in front of you, but these are all the modules. So let me just let the modules load. It takes a second to load. Actually, I'll pause it, let it load. So here it is now. Here's isometries, symmetries, properties, coordinates, reflection, double reflections, distance, equations of lines, parallel, transversal, what else we got here? We got congruence and proof, parallelograms, rhombus, dilations. All of those are good to go. All of those have the same pattern of a video, the actual mini lesson, any notes or additional videos, the pre and the post. Here's what the post looks like when it's been revealed. And so again, they can take that. Just to show you where the real power of the work is, what you're paying for really, is all of the quiz banks. And so again, what I have done is I've taken all of those worksheets and all of those additional problems and created the banks for them, created the questions. So you see three naming conventions. Pre-assessment items come from the worksheets. Post-assessment items comes from those additional questions that are provided in the materials, and the quiz are just different questions than those. So when you pull from pre-questions, you don't ever see the post questions, and you never see the quiz questions. And then, as you can see, 12, 32, 37, 28, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So if that makes sense to you, and if you have some Canvas experience and whatever, I think we could work out a deal to test run that this year and work on it. Let me just see if there's anything else I want to discuss. I think that's good enough for now.